200 plus children were killed yesterday. One day. They're saying Israel is using a new type of bomb that they haven't seen before, that shakes the ground like an earthquake all around for many hundreds of yards around it, and fires shrapnel in every direction, and, destroying things like they haven't experienced yet, which is hard to believe, but I'm so fucking lost here. I have to assume that you live under a rock, or you don't know, right? I have to assume you don't know, because I assume if you did know, there's no way you as a reasonable, decent human being would be okay with it. It's shocking. It's just shocking how, these fucking savages that are committing absolute total genocide on TV, like openly, without any worry or fear of any sort of consequences, or even like how they're perceived or anything. They just don't give a shit. And the United States keeps telling them, hey, you got to stop doing this. Hey, well, we did. When it was Biden, we did. But now Trump is like, yeah, no, kill all you can. Kill. But when Biden would say, when the Biden administration would say, you guys got to stop killing so much, Israel would just say, fuck you, we're doing whatever the fuck we want. By the way, give us more money. And we'd be like, okay, how much more money do you want? I mean, we don't like it, you're doing this, but how much? That's the perception that we're given. Now, I feel like I haven't talked about this enough. And I know people are going to roll their eyes at that one, but what else is there to talk about? Unless it directly has to do with these piece of shit Jays and what they're doing. Like, what is more interesting? What is more sensational? What is it? Like, what do you care more about? I get that, your own kids and stuff like that. I get that. But how long do you think it is before what's happening there is happening here? Like, you've told yourself that Gaza was this desert or whatever, when it looked like a city. It was a city like any other city. It was beautiful. If you look at the ruins, at the destruction, you can see you can only have that level of destruction if there was beauty there to begin with. And 200 plus children were killed yesterday. How are you not enraged? How are we not arming ourselves and doing everything we can to remove this disgusting, horrible cult before they take the rest of us? There's a lady, a dumb old lady driving around with a mask on, but it's right here. She's in her car like this. In her own car, by her own self. She's got her mask on. Like that is the stupidity I expect you to have, to be able to just sort of ignore. You're either really stupid, or you're a piece of absolute total fucking shit. There aren't really any options here. You either see what's happening, and so now there's that spot's back again somehow. Spot hasn't been there for a while, but okay, I guess we go through that spot. I am I just don't like. I don't know what to do. I don't even like you. Like in life, if I meet you and you're not like, hey man, blah 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 blah, did you see what the fuck these pieces of shits are doing? How can we fix this? If that's not your attitude, I don't even like you. I don't want to have anything to do with anybody. If you're not with me on this, I'm against you. You know, and I don't get it. I don't get how you can ignore it. I don't get it. If you're friends with my Facebook page, you'll see like that's basically all I post anymore. And I challenge my friends, like, how do you ignore this? I show clip after clip, video after video, interview after interview, showing that there's no ignoring this. By the way, Jake Shields, top dog, man. I wish I could connect with Jake Shields, because Jake Shields is I admired the guy from his fighting days, but now the man he is, what he's doing with his platform, he's the guy that all of them should be. He's the guy that all of the podcasters and all that, they should be trying to be like that. And he's the only one. I am lost here. I just don't understand who you people are. How are we cut from even a similar cloth, let alone the same cloth? How are we all humans? You're a human and I'm a human, right? That's what we're trying to sell here, that we're all just human beings living in this world together, blah, blah, blah. No one is better than anyone else and all that kind of bullshit, right? How do you do this? I have no problem saying I'm better than you. I absolutely think I'm better than you. If you don't go out of your way to talk bad about Israel and the Jays, I'm better than you. And if you don't like it, prove it wrong. What, you have more success than I do? You were allowed to have more success because you kept your fucking mouth shut? Well, you must be some sort of special then. Did you see? Israel killed 200 plus children yesterday.
What do you mean?
Look it up. It's a big massacre. They dropped bombs in areas where children were innocent and killed over 200 children yesterday. It's unfucking real. I cannot believe I live in this time. Like I always wondered growing up. I used to think when I was a teenager how I wish I grew up in the 60s and when the movements were happening. Morning, Matt. And it seemed like we were, I wish I could have been there for that hippie shit, blah blah blah. But the source of that hippie shit was absolute catastrophe. And it's not even close to what this is. Like, this is something different. And there's so much evidence to show you exactly what Netanyahu thinks of America, of Americans, it's just phenomenal.
Think about Trump again? Oh yeah, the greatest friend to the Israeli people.
That's what he says in public. But at the end of the day,
he's a piece of shit too.
Yeah, Trump's just a fucking dumb goy.
Yeah.
Another dumb goy.
The head goy that they can get to control the rest.
Mm-hmm. Agent Orange.
Keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
So we have IDs?
Can't find it. 200 children killed. You gotta look it up. Israel bombs Gaza's only cancer hospital as genocide continues to escalate. That was 2 days ago.
The fuck? People are already suffering.
Oh, it was 5 days ago, I guess. My bad. I just saw the. They can head off the narrative today. What the hell does that even mean? I'm mad at myself because I don't think I talk about this enough. When you see that 200 children were killed, they're bombing the only cancer hospital. Like, it is. I don't think he meant that either. I'm just so tired of it, man. I'm so tired of this. I'm so tired of being right. I'm so tired of just this narrative, like this idea that Israel has the right to defend itself. This is the thing where always somebody drops a bomb in Ukraine and it kills 6 people and the entire government is talking about this is a war crime. This is the most horrendous thing. How can we can't let this happen, blah, blah, blah. Israel drops multiple bombs, killing hundreds of children. And, I mean, I don't like to discount the lives of the adults, men, women, and children. Men and women are just as important. But they drop bombs killing all of these fucking people, and we go, well, they have the right to defend themselves. Doesn't defense come in response to something? Like, imagine if you...
What did that cancer hospital do to them?
Right. Imagine if you went and burned down the neighbor's house across the street or whatever. And the cops showed up and you were like, yeah, well, I heard they were going to burn down my house. I wanted to get them before they burnt down my house. Oh, okay, sir. Well, then you have yourself a great day. Sorry about that. You have a right to defend yourself.
You can't shoot somebody that breaks into your home with intent to cause harm, but they only have a knife.
Well, no, if they're running, if they turn to run, if they're coming at you and you shoot, they see that the bullet wound went into them from the beginning and you're like, ugh, you were allowed. But if they were supposedly turning to run.
That's not my understanding of the law. It's got to be equal force.
No. Yeah. You can't possibly know what they have. It's dark.
But that's for the jury to decide.
It's not really. If the cops don't choose to charge you, then you won't get charged. I mean, it's like, do you guys? It's finally starting to. Other people are finally starting to say it. But do you understand that COVID was about Israel? It was about Epstein and Israel. The Epstein story was going to expose the Israeli thing. Why do you think Israel was like the main... They said that Israel had the most vaccinated people per capita and the most sickness per capita. How do you think... do you think that's real? Do you really think the Israeli hospitals were overrun with people, blah, 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 blah? No. These are just fake narratives. I remember them saying it about the hospitals here. Remember when so my wife comes home one day and she's just in tears. And she has me watch this video, and it's from this female nurse who normally worked at the Novi Hospital, but had been brought over to the Botsford Hospital. And she's doing a video, explaining things. We have to decide whether we're going to keep somebody on a ventilator or, like, she did this really, really heartfelt, sad tearjerker that worked on my wife. My wife is a female, sensitive. I'm not knocking her at all. And so when she's like, you got to watch this video. So immediately the video starts, and the video has a title that pops up on the video. And I just thought, that's strange. How did you get a title on your video? And she says, "Oh, this is my first video. It's my first time doing this." And I'm like, "Wow, it's your first time doing this, and you have the capabilities of editing." And it just so happened that I was watching TV or something at the time while I was listening to it. So I wasn't looking at the video. And as it was going, after like 2 minutes or whatever, I heard the edit before I saw the edit. I heard that her speech pattern changed slightly, and that the volume level changed slightly, and the background noise changed. And I was just like, where did she get the edit from? This is supposedly a live video. It has a title and it has an edit. And of course, this video was picked up by the fucking media. This was a national news played this video. But I remember them saying hospitals like Botsford are overrun with people, and you know, all this shit. Emergency rooms are packed to the brim. And then you drive by it and there'd be nothing. You drive by the windows and, you know, you could see in, and you'd see the people just standing around doing nothing. Just think about how fucking insane that is. You know, I think the biggest problem, I mean, it's one of these weird things. I don't understand it. People think that everybody will say that the government is corrupt, that elections are corrupt.
Yet they all race out to vote.
Right. Yet it's only in the situations where you don't want it to be.
Well, you get that pressure, like, well, fuck, if I don't vote, then I'm not making a difference. I'm not going to be counted. And, you know, it's this whole peer pressure thing that people succumb to.
I mean, there's commercials that they play that say, you know, your voter registration information is available online. People might not be able to see who you voted for, but they'll be able to see if you voted. You don't want your friends and family to be able to see if you vote that you didn't vote. But this is all Jay fairy tale bullshit, man. This is Hollywoodism. And Hollywoodism is Israel. And again, I hate talking about the past, because the past has happened. There's nothing we can do to change it. We can change our remembrance of it, but we can't change what's happened. We have to look at today and forward. What can we do today and forward? And we can absolutely stop these fucking psychopaths. Netanyahu is such an unbelievable piece of shit. Like, there's just... I just don't understand. I don't understand. When you see this foreign agent, this foreign oligarch come into the U.S. government, come into the Senate, come into Congress, and get a 20-minute standing ovation, what do you think is happening? What did he do? Did he cure cancer or something? God damn it. Oh, Kevin Costner, no.
Maybe a backyard personal Burning Man because of the gas. I need to go. Please leave. right there. I just bought this new TV. I was wondering if you could give me a hand bringing it inside.
Hey, buddy, did you not hear me?
No, I definitely heard you. LAPD, put the gas can.
Netanyahu received a standing ovation on the House floor. Benjamin Netanyahu's speech to Congress interrupted by standing ovations.
I have the high privilege and distinct honor of presenting to you the Prime Minister of Israel, His Excellency.
His Excellency. His Excellency. That's royalty. Yeah. You don't call, like, have you ever heard?
But, okay, so how is he different than a king? He got rid of elections. He's allowed to lead that country till he dies.
Well, he's a dictator.
So that's what kings.
Yeah, but
privilege.
When have you ever heard something like that? The Congress refer to anybody that wasn't royalty as His Excellency, Her Excellency.
I want to thank you, Democrats and Republicans, for your common support for Israel, year after year, decade after decade.
Now everybody stands up like they all know to stand up. How do they all know to stand up?
No matter
It's because it's all rehearsed.
You stand with Israel.
Now they stand up again.
And I will always be grateful to President Obama for that support.
Wow, that wasn't nearly as ruckus.
This Capitol Dome helped build our Iron Dome.
Iron Dome, yeah. We helped it, we built it.
Stand together to stop Iran's march of conquest, subjugation, and terror.
Okay, wait a second.
They are the ones doing the march of subjugation and terror.
He just planted the seed to help give Trump the ammunition to block Obama from running for a third term when Trump gets that approved. Because that's what he's trying to do.
What are you talking about? This is old.
How old is that?
This is years old. This is when Obama was still in office. It's 10 years old.
Way.
It's 10 years ago. It's just one time this has happened. Woo! Woo!
Why is he allowed to address our Congress?
Woo!
When it comes to Iran and ISIS, the enemy of your enemy is your enemy.
Up, stand back up again.
And let Iran
They all know to stand.
would be to win the battle, but lose the war. We can't let that happen.
And now you look back at it 10 years later. So what has Iran done? If anybody can give me some background, some information on the terror that Iran has caused over the last 10 years, and then we can compare it to Israel. And let's just see. I mean, Israel has been given at least $3.8 billion every year for the last 10 years. Over $38 billion. Billion. And that's just the money that they tell the Goyim that they took. I mean, and that's what it is. They're taking our tax dollars. How many of you voted on let's give Israel money? How many of you even know about the Memorandum of Understanding? Here, let's look that up. It's strange how Memorandum of Understanding. Let's check out what they say. A Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, is a type of agreement between two bilateral or more multilateral parties, meaning the Republicans and the Democrats have this understanding, this agreement between them. It expresses a convergence of will between the parties, indicating an intended common line of each. It is often used in cases where parties do not imply a legal commitment or in situations where parties cannot create a legally enforceable agreement. It is more formal. It is a more formal alternative to a gentleman's agreement. Do you hear this? To subvert the legality of it, they don't call it legislation. They call it a memorandum of understanding. I got something stuck in my fucking teeth. Got weed stuck in my teeth. Whether a document constitutes a binding contract depends on the presence or absence of a well-defined legal elements in the text proper of the document. Whether a document constitutes a binding contract depends only on the presence or absence of well-defined legal elements in the text proper of the document, the so-called four corners. The required elements are offer and acceptance, consideration, and the intention to be legally bound. Doesn't seem like it's that much, huh? That's funny. The required element. In the U.S., the specifics can differ slightly depending on whether the contract is for goods, falls under the Uniform Commercial Code, or services, falls under the common law of the state. This is so fucking crazy. They understand they are in the same team. F the people. Many companies and government agencies use MOUs to define a relationship between departments, agencies, or closely held companies in private enterprise and government affairs and international law. Let's go with international law. Well, let's go with public affairs first. We'll go with that. In the UK, the term MOU is commonly used to refer to an agreement between parts of the Crown. The term is often used in context of devolution. For example, the 1999 Concordat between the Central Department for Environment, Food and Rural Areas and the Scottish Environment Directorate. MOUs can be used between government agency and non-governmental organization and a non-commercial. In international relations, MOUs fall under the broad category of treaties and should be registered in the United Nations Treaty Collection. That's weird. In practice and in spite of the United Nations Office of Legal Affairs, insistence that registration be done to avoid secret diplomacy, MOUs are sometimes kept confidential. As a matter of law, the title of MOU does not necessarily mean the document is binding or not binding under international law. To determine whether a particular MOU is meant to be a legally binding document, i.e. a treaty, one needs to examine the party's intent as well as the signatory's position, e.g. Minister of Foreign Affairs versus Minister of Environment. Why would they be versus each other? Aren't they working together? Shouldn't they be? That dude's not even Arabic and he's trying to fucking shoot passengers? Jeez. Did they forget what they were doing? To determine whether one needs a careful analysis of the wording will also clarify the exact nature of the document. The International Court of Justice has provided some insight into the determination of the legal status of a document in the landmark case of Qatar versus Bahrain, July 1st, 1994. Qatar versus Bahrain, both of which are now part of the Abraham Accords. One of the crazy things was when Got it. When the oh shit. Good gravy.
Mess maker.
I stepped on the cord. I stepped on the crack and broke my mother's back. Okay. This cord's a lot longer than I'm used to. I'm not used to such a long cord. Size queen. Alright, sorry about that. Advantages. One advantage of MOUs over more formal instruments is that because obligations under international law may be avoided, they can often be put into effect without requiring legislative approval. See, this is what I keep... What?
The shit that's happening.
This is what I keep telling you. This is one of the main reasons I do it this way. You don't see me regurgitating Alex Jones bullshit. You don't see me, talking about the latest conspiracy theory. Did we go to the moon? Blah, blah, blah. That's stupid. We can never know the answer to those questions until we deal with this thing. But to me, it's always, really interesting to read the narrative we're supposed to know and be like, holy shit, they're not even hiding it. They're so arrogant in what they do, they don't even feel the need to hide it from us. They literally just put it out there like these dumb goyim aren't going to do anything about it. We have them fighting each other too much. We have them fight.
Bombard them with these horrible restraints and
Yeah,
nonsense.
but
then we can slip that shit in there.
But the thing about us is,
so beat up and tired that what are they gonna do?
Well, the thing about people is that people love to unify over a common enemy, and when you give the people the enemy, they will just you tell them this is the enemy. We will instinctively go against it. So when they've had us now for decades, like the racism is so unbelievably obvious in this country. They're on your fucking head. They're on your fucking head. Yeah, pull them down. Dumb broad. I'm not 50. But I'm not 50. You're 50. Get over it. But they don't even feel the need to hide anything. All you have to do is read exactly what they want you to know. They wrote this. They give us this. This isn't us doing this. That's why nobody can ever tell me I'm wrong about anything. That's why you'll get like these dumb shits that come in here and comment dumb shit. Let's see, dumb shit. But you regurgitate Alex Jones like a bird feeding its youngs. Yeah. Show me all of the Alex Jones hates Israel and the Jays stuff. I'll show you something.
The Jews, Mr. Jones, have inflicted tremendous harm upon the United States.
Let me ask you a question. From your perspective, should the Jews be gotten rid of?
Yes, they should. In every country...
All right, I'm going to stop you right there. I am Jewish.
There you go. But no, I'm a leftist conspiracy theorist. I'm a leftist. Do you know how stupid you have to be like, no, I'm the left side. Well, I'm the right side, so we're different. Like, that's exactly what I'm talking about. They give you, all they have to do is give you two choices. They tell you, your parents told you what you were. I remember being a kid, we were walking out of the kitchen into Omi's garage. We were walking on the steps, and I asked my mom what's the difference between a Republican and a Democrat, and she told me that basically the Republicans want you to keep all your own money, and the Democrats want you to give it all away. That's what my mom told me. And I remember being a kid and seeing the Republicans and being like, yeah, but like George Bush sucks. Like I can't side with that just because I'm a Republican.
W.
No. The original.
Ugh. That gave me the chills.
Poppy.
Poppy is fucking scary.
Poppy Bush.
Oh, that man is evil to the core. Was evil to the core.
Let's see. Most require they can be put in effect without legislative approval. Hence, MOUs are often used to modify and adapt existing treaties in which these MOUs have factual treaty status. Seems like it's really like, back, the back talking and like this circular sort of conversation happening. The decision concerning ratification, however, is determined by the part. You know what? I wish I could talk to Sean or, any number of my friends who have either blocked me. Yeah. Blocked Sean Felix. Yeah, Sean Felix. I wish I could talk to Sean Felix and ask him whether, because, he when we hadn't, yeah, we hadn't talked for a really long time. He was one of my best friends in high school, and I was actually living with him when I met my wife.
Wasn't he like a Republican? Like he was a conservative when it came to politics.
I mean, he was a military guy.
Yeah.
But he one time he said something super racist, and I had already seen his racism and sort of overlooked it in the past, but I'm real big into, like, if you show your true colors and your true colors are something I don't like, that's not going to change. And the only way our relationship can persist is if I ignore some pretty awful shit. So, I was just like, fuck that guy. I'm not talking to him anymore. And we hadn't talked for like basically the entire time, almost 15 years or so. And maybe it was last year, maybe it was the year before. It was prior to October 7th. So it was 2023, maybe even the end of 2022, and we started talking again. And if you talk to me, very, very soon in the conversation, you're going to hear how disgusted I am by what's happening, especially with Israel. And so I was talking to him about it, and he was like, yeah, well, my girlfriend is half Mexican and half Jewish. And I was like, well, what is half Jewish? Like, Mexican comes from Mexico. They're Mexicans.
And they're like Christians.
Right, but they don't say half Christian.
No.
We don't say that. Nobody says, oh, I'm half Muslim, half Italian. That's such a strange thing that happens only with them. And of course, me, I'm like, oh, man, that sucks. I'm sorry. And we started talking, and I started talking about Israel and all this shit. And of course, he was on the side that they have the right to defend themselves and they're being attacked and all this other bullshit. And then,
believing the propaganda.
Of course, by choice. It's only a choice. And then after October 7th happens, and subsequently, every couple months I send him a text or so, like, so you still denying things? You still support this genocide? Like, I'd love to talk to that dude and be like, so what is it that you're supporting? What are you seeing that is justifying any of this? Even if you believe what they tell you happened on October 7th happened, which it didn't. No Israelis were killed and no one was taken hostage. It still isn't even close. Like they were justified in doing that. After the years, the decades and decades of extermination, subjugation, you know, everything that the Palestinians and the people in that region have gone through, that anybody would fight back for around 1,100 people to be killed in Israel, not around 1,100 Israelis. It's very important that you understand the wording. But that's nothing. That's nothing compared to what Israel does. Nobody talks about the fact that Israel had already killed 273 people that year.
They don't
on record. That's on record. And that's the 273 people. Remember how Israel loves to do that thing? They count the number of people killed, and then if there's an operation that kills another 100-something people, it's like they've killed 273 people and 152 people. Like, they don't lump it together for some reason.
Listen, when they are telling us about a bill that's up for vote or whatever, they don't tell us everything that's attached to that bill. They tell us the headliner for that bill, and that's to change the laws in our own country. Do you honestly think they're going to be forthcoming with, you know, side-by-side factual data between what's going on with those two countries?
I don't.
No.
Somebody says, considering fusion and fission are allegedly fake, everything else you say is suspect. Okay, so never say version of ad hominem, right? This is what these clowns do. They argue their own thing. They don't argue what I say. They argue their own shit so that they can argue. It's like when you hate to use the example, but when my wife says, "Oh, so everything is just my fault." No. This thing is your fault, but not everything. If I was saying everything was your fault, then I would be an asshole, and you would have the right to come at me like you do. But if you were to back it up and go, well, this one particular thing, yeah, it's okay that one thing is your fault. You do stuff, I do stuff. That's how this works. This is what you guys do every single time. You can't argue what I'm saying, so you make shit up. And if you think what I'm saying is suspect, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. There's endless new alternative news that are talking about certain parts, and then the mainstream account will also talk about it. They'll just talk about it in a different light. But it's ad hominem is the only thing you guys seem to have, and it's a joke. And I don't even, as it says, ad hominem is often wrongfully considered an insult. I don't think of it as an insult. This person is clearly showing that they pay attention, right? If
but only half listen.
No, they listen to what I say. They hear everything I say. They just know they can't argue it. Like I always say, it would be so much different if it was my everyday supporters that were like, yeah, you're right. Well, then you could just write that off. Oh, those are just people who agree with you on everything. If that's what you wanted to do. But the fact that you have people that are trying to come in here and find something wrong, so they have to pick up their own shit instead of actually talking about what I'm saying, that's so powerful. If I was wrong, they would say so. They would jump all over it. If I get a date wrong or I get a name wrong or something along those lines, and they're smart enough to catch it, which when I fucked up and said Da Vinci painted the Sistine Chapel, and I said it for like 20 minutes before I realized it was Michelangelo, not one of these fucking idiots caught it. But this is an open forum. You can speak on anything you want to speak on. Nothing's holding you back. You're not sitting here trying to come up with content shooting from the hip off the dome. You get to sit there and meditate and marinate on what I'm saying and come up with the best thing you can come up with. Make sure it's spelled correctly. The best thing that you can come up with, and that's that. That's the blah, 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 like shit like that, stuff that's easily debunked. I mean, it's very motivating. I can tell you that much. You know, if I were wrong, they'd say so, and if I wasn't such a threat, they would allow my feed to exist like everybody else's does. They wouldn't spend so much fucking time, energy, and money making themselves look stupid, trying their best to dissuade you from hearing what I'm saying. Do you honestly think anybody's going to convince me that there's not a genocide happening? Do you know how long it took me to get to the position where I would comfortably say, fuck everything, Jay? Have you ever heard me until recently say, we got to get rid of this cult? I was this years old. I was 46 years old when I realized we got to get the cult the fuck out of here. We got to give the cult what they want. Yep. More stupid shit. That's so weird. It's like I have people working for me, right? And whenever I talk about how stupid the shit comes my way, how stupid the shit is that comes my way, that's like their cue to come on here. I say, okay, whenever I start talking about that, you guys come in and say something stupid to prove the point. Like it pull your glasses down. It seems like that's how it works, but I couldn't make it this good. You know the best part is, I guarantee this dumbass didn't know what ad hominem was till I read it to him a bunch of times. I guarantee it. Why are we not unified and demanding that our tax dollars no longer be spent on giving these fucking people anything? I mean, that's what the kids are protesting. I don't know job, but says the person who's here all the time. Because you have a job. Obviously, you're doing your job. And yes, you are my employees. When I talk about people saying something stupid, you come in and say something stupid. It's fantastic. And your payment is that you get to be here. Because I'm the best thing in your life. I'm giving you what you need. If I wasn't the best thing in your life, you wouldn't be here every fucking day. Every day, begging for my attention. Please, guy, please pay attention to me. The best thing in your life. Shows you how shitty and sick your life is. Your wife is the smarter one here. Did he encourage you to start this channel? Have you ever heard me say that my wife is not the smarter of the two? She's not smarter about everything, that's for damn sure. But on most things, yeah, she's got me. Oh, ow! That hurts me so much. Pull your glasses down.
No.
Yes. Last thing we need is you getting a headache. She gets a headache. Oh, geez, I'm not even fucking doing this. Like, this is just stupid. Why would I ever keep reading these nonsense comments? Anything to stop us from talking about the genocide. To stop the conversation about the J slavery. What do you guys, like, what do you guys need to know? What could you be told that would make you see this for what it is? Like when You talk about all the pedo stuff, and then you look at who's the most guilty of it. They are. When you talk about, the genocide that's happening, who they are. Like, what is going on? When you talk about unfair practices in the government and all this other bullshit. Let's go. We got to finish this. Let's finish this. The decision concerning ratification, however, is determined by the party's internal law and depends on a large degree on the subject agreed upon. MOUs that are kept confidential, i.e., not registered with the UN, I would imagine, we have a few of those, cannot be enforced before any UN organ, and it may be concluded that no obligations under international law have been created. Although MOUs in the multilateral field are seldom seen, the transnational aviation agreements are actually MOUs. Examples include, let's see if they tell us. The Memorandum of Understanding relating to the treaty between the United States of America and the Union of Soviet Social Republics on the limitation of anti-ballistic missile systems on May 26, 1972, signed by Richard Nixon and Leonard Brezhnev, updating the anti-ballistic missile treaty. If we are enemies, why would we sign these things? This is back when we were supposed to believe that the Soviet Union was Russia, we got to watch out for Russia. Russia's the big bad. Why anybody would fear Russia at this point is beyond me. They can't even take out Kiev, let alone Ukraine. At least according to the narrative we're given. Do I believe that? No. I think if Russia wanted to, they could wipe out Kiev in a heartbeat. But since it's all one, we live in a one world government, and it's all one world situation bullshit. It's don't even waste time on it. Don't waste your time being distracted by any of this bullshit. Oops. Oopsie poopsie. Oh, hi. I can't tell you how proud I am to say, I didn't need to be told any of this shit. I was the one telling you guys all this shit long before it was fashionable. Oh, you guys want to see how interesting today is looking so far? Because again, here's another thing that you guys just... Why do you fucking care? That's just a normal, natural cloud. Starts all the way over there, east to west, west to east. It looks like it could have been a trail that was spread and slowly spread out. It looks like it, but that's not what it is. That's not what all that is. Just go back to sleep, people. Just go back to sleep. It's all good. That's just a result of humidity and dryness. It's the dry humidity that's causing that. The Memorandum of Understanding on hijacking of aircraft and vessels and other offenses between the U.S. and Cuba meant to criminalize hijacking in both countries, because I guess hijacking was okay. Okay. The agreement between the Cayman Islands and Cuba, under which Cayman immigration officers must give Cuban refugees two choices: disembark and be repatriated back to Cuba, or help. agreement framework between the U.S. and North Korea over nuclear weaponry on October 21st, 1994. The Oil for Food program, for which Iraq signed an MOU in March of 96. The agreement between the government of Indonesia and the GAM in the ETCH peace process, August 15th, 2005. The agreement between the UK and Jordan, Libya and Lebanon regarding potential extradition of suspects, commonly terrorist suspects, who, if they are to be tried, must be tried fairly and in a manner similar to the European Convention on Human Rights. For example, withholding from using evidence obtained through the use of torture, Article 3. Such an understanding has been criticized for its inability to be legally enforced. I mean, it's just stupid. If you torture someone, of course they're going to tell you what you want to hear. It's stupid. This has been highlighted in the current deportation process of the suspected terrorist Abu Qatada, who is wanted by Jordan in connection with a terrorist attack. However, at present, the Court of Appeal has rejected the UK government's appeal based on the court's concern of Jordan obtaining evidence potentially incriminating Qatada through the use of torture. The Memorandum of Understanding on Labor Cooperation between the People's Republic of China, Singapore, and New Zealand on 2008, in parallel with their respective free trade agreements. The Under Two Coalition is a 2015 memorandum of understanding which sets climate change mitigation goals for jurisdictions with over 1 billion residents. On December 2nd, 2019, the Michigan Department of Natural Resources and the Saginaw Chippewa Tribal Nation signed a MOU to co-manage the Sanilac Petroglyphs Historic National Park. Where the fuck? We didn't... What? The Sanilac Petroglyphs Historic National Park, or Site Park. We need to go there. Where's Sanilac?
Up by Cadillac.
We need to go there. The agreement marks the first state tribal co-management of a Michigan park. Oh, I guess that's it then. Now, that was a bunch of examples. Now we're going to see, I guess, more examples? Examples from U.S. law include the generic sample template for interagency agreements with the Office of Violence Against Women, OVW, from the U.S. Department of Justice. Examples from international development context include MOUs developed by grassroots organizations working with municipalities in South Africa to improve land and housing for the urban poor. Aww. The MOU used by NGOs and the Bangladeshi government to determine tasks under the National Tuberculosis Control Program. Getting your shots. The MOU used by city authorities and NGOs in Harar, Zimbabwe, to collectively document and upgrade slums. That's it. Not a single mention of the memorandums of understanding with Israel. Huh. Let's see. Why would we give Israel anything? They're fucking psychopaths. Wikipedia has no page. Search within pages to see if this phrase appears anywhere. Let's see what it says. Nope. Okay, so let's just Google it then. Memorandum of Understanding, Israel. Here's the National Archives.gov fact sheet memorandum of understanding with Israel. Okay, fact sheet. This the White House official press secretary. You don't give your sources. Obama White House archives.gov. That's strange. But this is the fact sheet because look, I'm wrong, right? Oi, more wiki reading for first graders. Yep, it's because that source isn't good enough, right? Because if I was using conspiracy stuff, they jump all over it. But I guess Wikipedia isn't anything. It's not official enough. So is the government.org archives.government? Is that one okay? What else are you gonna say here, dum dum? Under President Obama's leadership, the multifaceted cooperation between the United States and Israel has reached unprecedented levels. Bet you didn't know it was Obama, did you? From what we were told, Obama and Netanyahu hated each other. That was the narrative that we were given. Like that's one of the reasons why the standing ovations were such a big deal, and at the time it was the new. They talked about it. You know, there was lots of talk about how even our president doesn't get that kind of response. And it's just such a farce to me. It really is. How would all of these old people know to stand up at the exact same time? How do they even know to clap? He's just talking. How do they all know to start clapping at the same time and stand up if it's not rehearsed?
Oh, there's like a clicker or something.
I think so. I think they agree about speaking that. So they've all been given what Netanyahu's going to say and told that they're going to be standing up and sitting down a lot. That's probably the most work that those guys have done in a long time. All that standing and sitting, like almost like they were in church. Wikipedia is not good enough. So stupid. Especially the Wikipedia articles that are locked. That nobody can change. Like the thing is, again, your stupidity comes into play. And I don't even mean it as... Like, your stupidity is programmed stupidity. You're supposed to be stupid. What you believe that Wikipedia allows anybody to just edit it however they want to, that's a stupid thought. It's not me calling you names. It's me that is stupid. It's not ignorant. That's just plain stupid. Why would they do that? What would be the benefit to them to do that? You know, it's that part where you just don't understand. Damn it. You know, this is more of that stupidity. You're supposed to not know this stuff. We were supposed to, like, it's stupid for us to think that Netanyahu, pull your fucking glasses down. It's stupid to think that Netanyahu and Obama, you know, were enemies. That is a stupid thought. And we all were taught to think that, nuclear submarines, oh no. That submarine episode is fucking hilarious. When they escape the submarine and it blows up and they're fine. There's no pressure gauge or no differential or anything like they swim up, they're fine. They were just in the submarine and then it exploded. Unprecedented levels. This is particularly true with regard to the Security of Israel. The new 10-year Security Assistance Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, to Israel is the most recent reflection of President Obama's unshakable commitment to Israel's security. The funniest thing is like again, do you honestly think Obama is sitting at his desk and he's like, okay, well, we need, Israel's security is paramount. So here, let me draft this memorandum of understanding real quick. The memorandums of understanding regarding Israel, it's every 10 years. They sign a new one every 10 years. That could be a reason why Biden was president for that stretch, because Trump's going to have to sign the new memorandum of understanding, and he'll give them whatever they were mad when they got the $38 billion this time. They felt like they should have gotten more. They felt like it should have been more like $100 billion. $10 billion every year for 10 years. And I would imagine that's what Trump will sign. So it's probably coming in this year. This. Yeah, it's next year. Okay. This is dated September 14th, 2016. So, yeah. Holy fuck. So yet another reason why why Biden was president for that 4 years is because these memorandums of understanding are signed every 10 years. So Obama signed the last one prior to September 14th, 2016. Right around then. So that means the next 10-year memorandum of understanding will be signed by Trump. Isn't that great? Because Israel was mad that they got only $38 billion over the last 10 years. They thought they should get more like $100 billion. So watch. Let's make that prediction that Trump will pledge over $100 billion to Israel in the next memorandum of understanding. Let's see if I'm wrong. Under the new MOU with Israel, the Obama administration has made the largest single pledge of military assistance in U.S. history. The total value of the new MOU, which covers fiscal year 2019 to fiscal year 2028. So Obama signs it into law, but it doesn't, or into existence, but it doesn't take place for another 3 years. How does that even make sense? But that also explains why it was adjusted in 2029, because we'll see what it says here. But those two things, there's two concessions, they called it. Netanyahu had to make two concessions in order to get this $38 billion prize. Let's see if they mention the concessions here. Fiscal year 2019 to 2028 is $38 billion, $3.8 billion per year. It will succeed the current $30 billion MOU signed in 2007, which will expire at the end of 2018. Again, so the previous one was signed in 2007, and then in 2018, and then took place in the year 2008 to 2018. That's the 10 that makes as much sense as this bullshit can make. So why would Obama's thing be signed in 2016 and not take effect until 2019? That's really fucking weird. I mean, it's our system, it's our government, so it's not like shocking or anything. I just mean, when I say it's weird, it's a weird process. What sense would that? How does that even make sense? But if you look at it from the conspiracy perspective, that, you know, Trump is going to be the president that leads us into the next Great Recession, starting in 2028, 2029, well, then that actually sort of fits that this, you know, this narrative is much more, you know, has a much longer plan than we realize. They've had all of this shit scripted out for a lot longer than we realize. Ooh, hot tea. The amount represents a significant increase over the current MOU by every measure and will enable Israel to acquire additional advanced military capabilities from the United States. This might be one of these things you want to hear, chubby girl. This explains the $3.8 billion a year.
Nothing explains that.
Well, this lays out. So, but listen to this. Listen. The new deal, which covers fiscal year 2019 to 2028, signed in 2016, is $3.8 billion per year. It will succeed the current $30 billion MOU signed in 2007, which will expire at the end of 2018.
So they got an additional 8.
But if the 2007 one signed went into effect in 2008, and then from 2008 to 2018, that makes sense. Why would Obama's be signed in 2016 and not go into effect until 2019?
You want to wait till he was out of office?
But why would the next president be okay with it? It shouldn't matter.
Well, because it would be on the next president in 2020.
No, it's
It expired in 2019, right?
It started in 2019.
I thought you just said it started in 2006 or
The previous one went from 2008 to 2018. Obama signed one in 2016, but it doesn't start until it just doesn't make sense.
Until the first one ends.
Right. But why would Obama be the one? Why, if Trump's the president at the time, why would it be set up that Obama would?
He wanted it to start before Trump took over because he knew Trump was going to give him 100.
Yeah, but who gives a shit? Why?
He didn't want them to get more.
Yeah, but why would Trump not just override that and be like, no, I'm going to rewrite
Because
this?
It was probably written that it can't.
It's a memorandum of understanding. I just read it to you. It's not a legally binding anything.
Maybe that was the agreement, and there were other things attached that we don't know about. You know.
Again, you're trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense. It's not how shit works. How it works is the president in 2007 signs it, and then it goes into effect next year. The previous president doesn't sign something that goes into effect when the new president is in office that the new president doesn't have anything to do with, especially not an egomaniac like fucking Trump. If, in fact, they are anything other than just the figureheads, the actors we know they are. If they're these actual people they say they are, there's no way Trump wouldn't no, I want to...
I mean, there's probably legality to it that we don't know.
There's not legality to it. If it was legal, then they would call it something else. These memorandums of understanding are used as that to subvert legal scrutiny, legal authority.
So Obama wanted it to go into effect.
But who gives a shit what Obama wants?
They have a clause that the sitting president can't change an existing agreement.
Yes, they can. They absolutely. Now you're just going in like I have to be wrong. So you're going to go in all of these directions.
Well, there's a reason that Trump didn't automatically change it as soon as he got into office.
The reason is because it didn't even come up. That's not how it works. It's just not how it works. The president at the time, it to me, it just shows you that it's all one big show. Obama signed something that Trump didn't enhance or make like he would have. There is a reason why it went this way, but I think it's just because that's how it's scripted. Obama doesn't have any real power. Trump doesn't have any real power, and they're not the people you think they are. They're not sitting at their desk mulling over documents and trying to figure out the math. And you think Obama sat there and figured out, like, okay, let's take this money and we'll do this money. No.
It's the Treasury Department or whatever, and then they bring it to them. This is what we figured out. What's your decision?
Okay, if that's what you think it is, I think that's that's one side of it. My side is to say they figured it out and said, all right, here's your script. Read this. It's not, what do you think, Mr. Obama? Because again, according to the narrative that we were given, Obama didn't even like him. Obama and Netanyahu didn't like each other. But it's interesting how your mind will do things that you just don't. It doesn't make sense. I would imagine if you looked at the other memorandums of understanding, it usually went the president in charge, signs it, and then it goes into effect. But now you have Obama, or you have Trump that's going to sign the next one in 2028, and that's a pretty big deal. Anyway, it includes, or this amount represents a significant increase over the current MOU by every measure, and will enable Israel to acquire additional advanced military capabilities from the United States. It includes $33 billion in foreign military financing, FMF funds, foreign military financing funds, and an unprecedented $5 billion commitment in missile defense assistance.
If they have the Iron Dome, why do they need that?
This is what built it, actually. But that's not true either. Because when we lived in Grosse Pointe, our neighbor below us was this crazy military guy. And he was a young kid. And he had recently gotten back from overseas, and he was fucking nuts.
Crazy.
And he kept talking about how he thinks he's going to go back overseas and go be a contractor there, because they make well over $100,000 a year starting. And I was like, dude, are you crazy? You're going to go over there and you can blow up at any time. They'd launch the fucking Palestinians are launching missiles all the time. This is what I thought back then. And he was like, oh, no. There's an Iron Dome. And he explained it to me. He was like, yeah, it's just like G.I. Joe, man. Anything that any sort of missiles that come into it, radar locks on that shit and shoots it down before it can get even close. Look at all the comments trying to get me to stop talking about this. Trying to get my attention so I stop reading you guys this shit. Why do you think when I started reading this, all these commenters were quiet. And then I started reading this, and now suddenly they're just saying the most outrageous shit they can to try to get the attention. So, like, does anybody believe that there are Americans that would hear this and go, oh yeah, that's great. $3.8 billion. Yeah. Like, why would any American not want me to read this out and show where our money's going? Our tax dollars. This funding will be dispersed in equal amounts of $3.3 billion in FMF, that's the foreign military financing, and $500 million in missile defense funding each year for the duration of the understanding.
Oh, so that's $8.3 billion, not $3.4 billion.
No, $500 million.
Oh.
$500 million. In practical terms, the level of funding specified in the MOU will permit Israel to update the lion's share of its fighter aircraft fleet, including through the acquisition of additional F-35 fighter jets, increase its missile defense, and acquire other defense capabilities needed to meet its threat environment. Right?
Why is everybody always threatening Israel?
How come everybody's only threatening Israel? How come nobody ever actually does anything? Israel has 150,000 rockets pointed at it at all times. Well, why doesn't anybody ever launch them? Especially now. Don't you think it's awfully strange how no Muslim countries are coming to the aid of the Palestinians, especially Saudi Arabia? Saudi Arabia, who refused to sign a normalization agreement, even with the cherry being, with the carrot being that the U.S. will give the Saudi Arabians a civilian nuclear program. We were going to give them a nuclear program just so they would play nice with Israel. And they refused, stating until there's a two-state solution and the Palestinians are treated well, we're not going to sign anything. We don't need anything from you. If they were willing to turn down a nuclear program, unfreezing of the weapons deal, which I would imagine, as soon as Trump got in office, he unfroze those funds. Because it's so funny how it's all connected. So Adnan Khashoggi was the reporter with a J reporter, dual Israeli citizen, who was like one of the head reporters who exposed the Saudi Arabian royal family. Wasn't scared of the Saudi Arabian royal family.
What did that do exactly?
He was lured to the Turkish consulate, where security video shows him walking in, and then a man that looks like him, but he's a little bit bigger and has different shoes on, walking out in his clothes. His wife says he never comes home. There's this big search. He's missing, blah, blah, blah. The Saudi Arabians deny. Then it finally comes out that it was the Saudi Arabians. The order came directly from the Prince of Saudi Arabia, the Saudi Prince, and that there was that a few years ago, there was a couple of hours where Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube all went down all at the same time. And it was because they videoed them dismembering Adnan Khashoggi and putting his body parts in different barrels of acid and then burying them in the desert. But they videoed and put the video of him being dismembered out into social media. And they had to scrub it. So they shut down the big three and scrubbed it real quick. I've had multiple people say they were watching the video when it went down. And they were like, what the fuck am I even looking at? And then it suddenly went down. So because he was an American citizen and he was press, a dual Israeli American citizen, and he's press, he's like totally off limits. When it came out that it was the Saudi prince that ordered it, all the Jays were like, hey, what are you going to do? One of us was killed by a dirty Saudi Arabian. Trump said, well, I got this $2 billion weapons deal going with Saudi Arabia right now, so I'm not going to do anything. I don't want to screw that up. And when Biden got in office, the Saudis had paid the $2-something billion, but the Biden administration froze it. So they couldn't get their money back, and they couldn't get their money back, and they didn't get their weapons. But trying to get Saudi Arabia to sign the Abraham Accords, to sign a normalization deal with Israel, the Biden administration, along with offering the civilian nuclear program, also said we will unfreeze this weapons deal. To which the Saudis turned that down. And yet they're still not coming to the aid of the Palestinians, of the people of Gaza. So what's that? What does that mean? What does that tell you? I thought for sure Saudi Arabia would have got involved by now, and that would have kicked the World War III thing into effect. But for some reason, Saudi Arabia, the richest nation in the region, one of the most powerful militaries and all that, along with Iran, super terrorist Iran, now has every justification in the world to attack Israel, and they're not. Almost seems like it's all bullshit. Almost seems like they've been lying to us. Anyway, the multi-year missile defense commitment in the MOU greatly facilitate long-term planning rather than missile defense assistance levels continuing to be appropriated year to year. The $500 million in annual missile defense funding under the MOU exceeds the average level of non-emergency support the U.S. has provided to Israel for missile defense over the last 5 years.
You don't get a plan with additional benefits automatically, so you have to call and see what medical plans are available to you in our zip code.
Yeah, you know what? We should be taxing the 30 million illegal, pull your glasses down, the 30 million illegal aliens. That's what the problem in our country is. The 30 million illegal aliens.
Billionaires paying taxes first.
Why don't we stop giving billions of dollars to a foreign country to kill people? Why don't we do that first? First, let's stop giving money to another country that doesn't need it. Then let's work on the billionaires paying taxes. Because stopping giving the money to the foreign, that's immediate. That's immediate influx of $3.8 billion into our economy. You think that might help? No, we need to tax those illegals who work for $50 a day under the table, back-breaking labor for 12 hours a fucking day. We need
jobs we refuse to do.
Jobs we refuse to do. You need to focus on the smaller things, man. You're always focused on the big picture.
We got fucking 15 people sleeping in a one-bedroom apartment just to make ends meet, and fuck you. Those are the people living in squatter. Those are the people.
The funny thing is, you guys think I've literally had to say these things to me. I'm not making these things up. There's no hyperbole here. One of these dumbass trolls on here said these same things yesterday. Moreover, our decision with Israel to discontinue two anomalies in the defense relationship that no longer serve our mutual interests, offshore procurement, the arrangement under the current MOU through which Israel has been uniquely permitted to spend 26.3% of its annual FMF package within Israel on non-U.S. products. Yeah, well, see, the illusion that they give us is that it's military aid. It's not like just regular money. It's military aid.
They don't specify if those products need to be military related or not.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, again, they have you convinced that if it's military aid, it's not the same thing as money.
Right.
And this whole memorandum of understanding was all about, they couldn't just be giving Israel weapons. We wouldn't be okay with that. So the illusion was that we give them this military aid so they can buy the weapons from us. Because that strengthens our economy, right? That strengthens our economy more than stopping giving them the money altogether. Like, this is how stupid they know you are. They don't even think you are. They know you're this stupid.
Let's not jump to conclusions. Maybe they are really in love.
And as always, ask yourself, what American is hearing this and going, man, you need to stop talking about this stuff. This is stupid. Focus on your Mexicans. And Israel's use of FMF funds to purchase fuel means that Israel will spend more funding, as much as $1.2 billion per year, on the advanced military capabilities that only the U.S. can provide. The acquisition of additional U.S.-produced capabilities and technology provide the best means to ensure Israel preserves its qualitative military advantage. Remember how I tell you about that all the time? I just wasn't calling it by its proper name. Well, there's the proper name. The qualitative military advantage. We'll look that up next. Under President Obama to date, Israel has received a record amount of foreign military financing funds. Israel remains the leading recipient worldwide of U.S. FMF. Since President Obama took office, the United States has provided Israel over $23.5 billion in FMF assistance from 2009 to 2016. $23.5 billion of your fucking tax dollars is given to Israel. Are you paying attention? Do you guys not hear what's happening here? Like, I can't make this up. I don't give my sources. This is archives.gov. What else do you guys need to hear before you realize something fucking fishy's going on here? In fiscal year 2016, the U.S. provided Israel $3.1 billion in FMF assistance to support Israel's ability to defend against threats. This is in line with assistance provided in fiscal year 2014 and 2015 and represented approximately 51.4% of the U.S. global FMF account in 2016. We give Israel 51% of the money we have allocated to be spent around the world. Are you kidding me? Israel has 9 million people. Well, 9 million Israelis. Israel is a first world country. Israel is about the size of New Jersey. Keeps getting bigger. Might even be a lot smaller than New Jersey. I'm not sure. Do you guys understand what's going on here? Matt, why are you falling for it, dude? They're dragging you into stupid conversation to distract you from what's going on. Where were all these guys before I was reading shit you're not supposed to hear? Don't fall for it, dude. Especially when you know a lot of these are Team Jorge bots. The same bots over and over again. It's like... This is why I'm so grateful they're here. Because I can't, other than reading it to you, I don't know how else to prove to you what's going on. But you have to be able to, connect some of the dots here. I'll connect them, you just have to see the picture. Do you honestly believe that there are just random Americans that are mad at me over this, and that they're not like, holy shit, we need to stop this. This is crazy. Isn't that your normal American response to this? Like, what the fuck? Why are we? No way. We need that money here. Fix our damn roads. You know, what are you talking about? $25 billion? We give Israel 50%, 51.4%? Of our military financing for the entire world? This isn't a country that's ever being attacked. This is the country that does all of the attacking. Here, hang on a sec.
insane. This type of shit just...
It's like I'm making it up.
Well, this type of shit is the stuff that makes things feel hopeless. You know, like, well, how can we affect where money is allocated and given? This is like the very overwhelming shit that just, if you think about it, it just feels so crushing. You know? And then they kind of desensitize you to it by throwing all these just unbelievable numbers that we hear but we really can't relate to. And then you just you become kind of ear blind to it, if you will. You know, your brain just, yeah, well, nothing we can do about it.
That's what you're supposed to
Kind of chalks it up. Well, because you're like I said, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And it's a very crushing feeling.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, they throw out these numbers that there's just no way for us to relate to them.
Right.
You know, so that automatically makes your brain categorize it. Yeah, well, chalk it up, because what can we do?
Matt,
how do we control where money is allocated?
They're always misconstruing what I'm saying. That's the only thing they can do. It's ad hominem, dude. That's the only argument they have. They can't focus, like, they're not that dumb. I mean, Israelis are dumb, but they're not like that dumb. You can hear the words I'm saying. It's just your choice and how you choose to comprehend it. Wait, and you're trying to find, it's that everything's it's that thing. Instead of focusing on what I'm saying, you're focusing on something you can argue. You should argue. If I was saying what you're saying I'm saying, then yeah, you would have not only would you have a good argument, you'd have every right to make that argument. But that's because you're not focusing on what's actually being said. It's how it works, man. Oh, so what you're saying, as soon as you hear somebody start saying that bullshit, like, and you know, where do you even get that understanding from? Right? I didn't say that. How many times has it happened on here where somebody's made something and I'm like, I didn't say that. You're arguing something I didn't say. Like the other day when the dude said the only thing, you know, and you said only this happens, and I was like, no. If I said only this, then you would have a reasonable argument. But since I didn't say that, you put that word in there on purpose. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the argument. And that's the whole misconstruing thing. It's not misconstruing. They know what they're doing. They know they have nothing that they can say that actually makes any sense. I don't think that it's that big as long as it's the ones sent here by our government, the ones that aren't awful, usually take the jobs that people don't like. Usually, only. When have you ever gone to a doctor and they were like, all right, Dr. Gonzalez will be in a minute. And he walked in like, orale, what's happening? Oh, you not feeling so good today, huh? Yeah, no, I got my degree in Tijuana, man. Yeah, that was great. We had a good time. Like, never went to your accountant like, you know, oh, man, you've been spending too much money this year, man. Or at least you've been spending it and not documenting it. Why aren't you documenting this so you can write it? Like, they don't do that. The ones that are here are picking your fruit, are working in your hotels, cleaning your fucking cum stains off the bed.
Cars.
I don't know. I don't think that's what. Well,
Fixing your cars, fixing your roof.
Well, wait. The fixing your cars ones are not the southern illegal immigrants. It's only the illegals that are coming from the south that's the problem. A lot of times you'll get like Arabs that come over, and they're not nearly as bad. Right? It's fucking
Do
silly.
they walk too?
Of course. Why wouldn't they? They got fucking pigeons.
You carry them over the
Yep.
bodies of water.
Okay. Here we go. Un tutu, un beto, un. In addition to FMF, MFF.
Wait. Are Mexican pigeons bigger?
No, they're smaller, but they work a lot harder.
Because their avocados are bigger.
Right. No, they work a lot harder. But when they're on break, they break. No, I'm on break. I'm on break, I say. I get my 15 minutes, Holmes. I'm gonna make a burrito. I'm gonna break out the fucking cooker. I'm gonna cook it all up. I'm gonna make some salsa. I'm gonna do all this shit in 15 minutes. You want some? I got plenty. If you've ever been on a construction site with Mexicans, you understand what a fucking pleasure that is.
Shit. Even working when I was at the Townsend, when I'd work with the banquet staff serving the banquets or whatever.
All those guys from Yemen?
No. At Forte or at Townsend, it was the Mexicans and the banquet staff. All of my coworkers, I was the outcast. But
You looked Mexican, so.
yeah, they after we'd service, the weddings or whatever, and everybody go home, and we'd clean up the banquet room. Mostly the Mexican guys would get right in the kitchen, and they would start, and they would make us a good little feast before we left for the night. It was awesome.
20 minutes, tops.
Oh yeah. Oh, they were all back there throwing down, and
20 minutes.
And then I'd ask them, like, why don't you guys work in the banquet kitchen with me
Oh, no.
during the day? No, they just do the serving.
No. In addition to FMF funding under President Obama's leadership, the U.S. has provided over $3 billion in missile defense programs and missile defense funding for programs and systems for Israel. Since 2011, the United States has provided Israel with over $1.3 billion for the Iron Dome system alone. Iron Dome batteries and interceptors have saved an untold number of Israeli lives, particularly during the conflict with Hamas in 2014. Huh. Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Where's the country of Hamas?
Yeah, Hamas is this, like this, the whole thing about Hamas is they're like, the Palestinians don't have a government. They don't have a military. They're not getting all kinds of, where would they be? What factories do they have all set up that they can just manufacture the steel and all that shit necessary to make all these weapons? They are a boogeyman. They are the Israeli boogeyman. That's why they wear like complete covering, head to toe. They wear the khaki uniforms. They have on the black balaclava with the green headband. So if black and khaki actually would be a pretty good thing to have in the desert. If you're sort of hide and you blend right into the desert. Except for that bright fucking green, like not like fluorescent green, like that green. Bright green headband that's like here, headshots right here. Because that makes sense. Oh, I want to look something up. I don't want to lose this page. Can I see your phone for a second? Let's see. No evidence Hamas used U.S. funded condoms for bombs as Trump claimed. not what I'm talking about, though. This is years ago. Wonder if it'll show up. Is this it? IDF aircraft fires at cell launching? No. Here's a picture of it. A masked Palestinian man launches a balloon loaded with flammable materials towards Israel from the southern Gaza town of Rafah on June 7th, 2018.
Launches a balloon.
It's a condom. It's a bunch of condoms. That when you're fighting against tanks and aircraft and iron and all that shit with balloons, with condoms, like, that just shows you how desperate they are. But it's a good thing this guy decided to pose for this photo that was then submitted to whoever. And actually it says illustrative. So obviously it's fake.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well, unless they meant illustrative as, like, this illustrates what they're doing.
Right, but
That doesn't necessarily mean it's drawn.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, it's an illustration of what they're doing. Like somebody show, this is what they do. Look, that's a masked Palestinian man. Right, yeah. I didn't mean it was drawn. During that conflict in 2014, when Israeli civilians were subject
To condoms flying at them.
No, they were subjected to rocket fire. The president worked with Congress to successfully provide $225 million in short fuse funding for the Iron Dome system above the $504 million that had already been provided to Israel in 2014 for missile defense support.
Oh my God.
Yeah, again, I'd love to see all the videos of the missile attacks on Israel. And at the same time, again, we have to talk about Hamas. Where is Hamas getting all of these weapons? Doesn't it make more sense, especially with Israel's 99% efficiency when it comes to the Iron Dome shooting down munitions? And that 1% are the ones that the system scans and figures out that they're not going to actually hit anything important, so they just let them fall. That's where that 1% comes from. Basically, they have 100% effectiveness. What was I saying? What was I saying? I don't remember what I was saying about that. But they have 100% effectiveness on it. So, in addition to Iron Dome, the United States has invested significantly in the co-development of longer-range defense systems such as David's Sling and Arrow 3. So I've always told you they have 3 levels of it, right? Iron Dome is just the short-range stuff. Oh, what makes more sense is that Israel, who has this surplus of rockets and shit, are launching rockets into agreed-upon coordinates so the Iron Dome has the efficiency it has in shooting them down, and then they have their excuse. Oh, Hamas launched rockets at us again. You have to ask yourself, if Israel has 100% effectiveness rate, 100% success rate at shooting down any munitions shot into the airspace, and then they literally always use that as their excuse to hit, if a handful of rockets are launched into Israeli airspace and shot down, Israel then will hit 10 targets that I guess they just picked on the fly with their rockets that are already, loaded onto their aircraft, and their aircraft are already fueled up. Like the response comes immediately. It's almost like it was pre-planned. But why would anyone, Palestinian-wise, shoot a rocket into Israeli airspace? You have 0 chance of it actually hitting something, and then you're giving the excuse Israel needs to kill you and your people. What would be the benefit? How much do rockets cost? How much do rocket launchers cost?
Why?
I-
Why do they cost so much?
I literally had one of my dumb friends.
Wait a second. A fucking rocket, something that is meant to explode, to break apart. Why do we spend so much?
Same reason we spend so much
Building it?
money on fireworks.
No,
Fireworks are ridiculously expensive. Ridiculously expensive. If you're a parent and you've had to pay for the 4th of July, you fucking know. You can spend a couple of $100 and you'll get like 10 minutes of fireworks.
It still doesn't compare to billions for that one thing. That
Obviously, no, but
it
the
doesn't
firework.
even give us beautiful lights in the sky. It's,
Well, no, it gives you a huge mushroom cloud of destruction, and yeah, no, it's you take that firework and multiply it by 1,000,000. Well, then you see 1,000,000. It costs that much more. But why would Hamas ever do that? Damn, what was I gonna say? Why would Hamas ever do that? Why would they launch anything into Israeli airspace only to be shot down and then be targeted because of it?
well, so they spend so much on rockets, so much on missile
Yeah,
launch.
where do they get it from? Who's getting it? How much do these rockets? No. Hamas, the areas in which Hamas is supposedly located, like the Gaza Strip and shit, there's an absolute total Israeli blockade surrounding the area.
Yeah,
Nothing gets through.
They've got them pushed up against the shoreline.
Right. Nothing gets through.
And then doesn't let them get on a boat to escape.
Right, because they have the blockade all the way around. So are we saying that somebody is somehow swimming underwater munitions into Gaza, and then all of the surveillance systems and everything that are all around Gaza that are run by Israeli AI and use facial rec and all that shit, they just don't see it. Thousands of when they said October 7th that Hamas launched 5,000 rockets in 20 minutes. That's 4 rockets per second for 20 minutes.
Okay, so
you're this poor Palestinian, whatever, you barely getting by, and somehow you procure thousands of dollars for a rocket instead of feeding your family. And wait, one more. My friend was saying that he thought that Hamas was brilliant because they were committing economic terrorism against Israel by doing that. Because they launch a rocket that only costs a few $1,000s, and Israel has to launch a rocket that costs $100,000 to intercept it. So they're committing economic terrorism against Israel. My friend fucking said those words.
the pigeons drop the Mexicans off here.
How do you
Then carry the munitions
so
to Hamas.
so they where are they getting this thousands of dollars? Like you can put it in that perspective and be like, well, Israel's spending all this la 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 la. Okay, well, when you're dirt ass poor and you can't afford anything, they're all your supply, everything's cut off, all of this shit. You're telling me these people are scrounging together a couple $1,000s, 10,000? That's a lot of fucking money. These basic shitty rockets that can travel as far as they can travel and all that shit. If it's even $5,000, it's a lot of fucking $5,000 to us. It's almost life-changing. That's how poor we are. If we got $5,000, you'd be like, oh fuck yeah, we can do something with it. We could pay off some shit. You're telling me that these poor people who are just barely getting by, basically slaves, are scrounging their $5,000 together to buy a rocket to launch into Israeli airspace so that it can be shot down and then they can be attacked for it. Why would that make any sense? And so the Iron Dome is the short range. David's Sling is the mid range, and the Arrow 3 is the long range. They've set it up so Israel is like this command center that can't be attacked. Isn't it funny how we all know about the Iron Dome, but have you ever heard of David's Sling or Arrow 3?
Nope.
I've always known about it. I always remembered it was Arrow something. I forgot about David's Sling. But Arrow 3, we should look those up too. In fiscal year 2016, Israel received $487 million in missile defense support, including for David's Sling, Arrow 3, and Iron Dome. That's an additional. On top of the $500 million, they got another $487 million. I think it was 2021 when Israel did the big attack at the end of Passover, and they murdered like 300 people or some shit. They immediately demanded and got like an additional $1 billion from us because they spent all that money with that last operation in it. They actually got closer to $4.8 billion in 2028 or 2021 or 2022, 2020, something like that. Like the $3.8 billion is just like, can you imagine what day that comes through? Like if you're poor, then you know you're waiting that check day. It's a relief. Okay, cool. I can do this. I can do that. Can you imagine getting your $3.8 billion check to just do whatever the fuck you want to do with it? Disperse it amongst your people.
After you line your own pockets, of course.
Of course. After successful, well, I mean, at this point, it's so much further than that. Everyone involved in this shit has been rich for quite some time. And it's not about, like, the thing about a psychopath is it's not like a psychopath is ever satisfied. They can't just kill one person and then be okay with it and then just stop. They need to continue to kill. And that's what these people are.
Fear alive, that helps.
Yeah, but I'm talking about internally for the psycho. The psychopath, the murderous psychopath needs to keep killing to feel that high, that feeling. I mean, that's what the shows they produce tell us over and over again. And that's what Netanyahu and all, these are psychopaths. I can't imagine, like, even my 2028 presidential solution isn't we kill them all. My solution is let them have what they want. Give them Israel, let them go live in Israel. You want to be a part of the cult, go live in Israel. I'll give you what you want. We'll even pay for you to get there.
But you don't get money after that.
No, you're cut off. That's it. It's this last, get the fuck out of here. We'll pay for you to get out of here.
And remove all of your visas that allow you to come back.
You're not allowed to come back. No, this is a cult-free zone. And you can see how well Israel fares, how well they fare without that big brother support there. I don't think it'll last very long.
Having their fucking servants.
Right, absolutely.
Take care of their own shit.
Can you imagine if you were used to getting $3.8 billion a year plus and that suddenly got cut off? And remember,
trickle that down to the citizens.
Right. Well,
if you're used to getting
your citizens, right? Your stipend every month. Well, think about this too. We're forgetting $3.8 billion is more like 15 billion shekels.
Well, yeah, it's all relative.
It's not all relative. It's not. They're not charging. The cost doesn't offset the increase. It doesn't. Why would it? We're talking about a first world country. In most cases, like in the UK, the pound is worth more than the dollar.
Right, but all the prices of everything, it's all relative. That part of it is all relative.
So you think.
It doesn't matter what you call the money.
So you think. So you think. Now, when they're working out deals with us, where they work it out that or with anybody that they, of that 15 billion shekels, they now pay 3 billion shekels. Like, it's still going to be way more money than, especially psychologically. They have more money to play with. And I promise you, it does not offset. A pack of cigarettes there is not 4 times the amount of money cost it is here. After successful joint tests of David's Sling and Arrow 3 last year, fiscal year 16 is the first year in which missile defense funding for Israel also included funding for co-production of these systems, further deepening our missile defense cooperation with Israel. Hey, have you heard about the United States and their Iron Dome missile defense system?
No.
What about our
We've
David
got,
Sling?
We've got 4 branches of military.
Yeah. They have the same shit.
They don't.
Yes, they do. They have an Israeli
They have
Navy.
their Air Force and they have their Navy.
And their Air Force, their Navy, their IDF, and then they have they have branches of government, of military. No, these are technologies. The Iron Dome is a technology that keeps the people safe. We don't have that. I've never heard about our missile defense system. You know, they've talked about it theoretically that we have satellites that can shoot lasers down and shoot, but that's theoretical bullshit. Have you ever heard of any sort of long range, anything? David Sling, Arrow 3, or Iron Dome? They're not called, they're not called that shit. They have American names. English names. With over $26 billion in total assistance during President Obama's tenure in office, Israel has been able to acquire new advanced capabilities to bolster its security, not its offensive capabilities. If you say that Israel is bolstering their offensive capabilities, that's anti-Semitic. That's anti-Semitism. The United States provides Israel with unparalleled access to some of the most advanced military equipment in the world, including F-35 Joint Strike Fighter jets, which are used against civilians. The most advanced fighter jets in the world are used against civilians. 200 children were killed in the last day or two. I don't remember. That one story said it was 5 days ago, so I'm not sure which day it was. But using FMF, Israel is scheduled to receive 33 F-35 fighter aircraft. How much do you think those things cost? The U.S. government is spending $20 billion. No. An F-35 Lightning II fighter jet program is known for its high cost, with the average flyway cost per plane ranging from $82.5 million for the F-35A, $109 million for the F-35B, and $102.1 million for the F-35C. So that is, at the very least, 82 times 30?
Disgusting.
What's 82 times 30 million?
2.4 something.
Yeah, 2.4 billion. So on top of that, they're getting $2.4 billion
Probably closer to 2.
in aircraft alone. And that's only if they're getting the low end ones, which they're not. They're getting the high end ones, which are $110 million. So that takes it to 3.9, almost $4 billion in jets. Israel will be the first foreign partner to take delivery of this 5th generation fighter aircraft. The U.S. also provided Israel with several C-130 heavy lift cargo planes, just several. 4 SAAR-6 Corvettes, why are we buying, wait, SAAR Corvette, that must be a military thing.
But why do they need all that?
We were like we thought they were the Corvettes.
No, it's the tanks. Isn't
No,
it?
it's a giant fucking warship. It's a destroyer. SAR Star 5 is a class of Israeli Navy corvettes. They were originally designed using lessons learned from the 4.5 class missile boats. They cost $260 million each. They can go 20 knots with their diesel engines and 33 knots with their gas turbine engines. They have Argon STAN/SLQ-25 Nixie towed torpedo decoys, Elbit Deceiver rocket decoy launchers, Rafael RF corner reflector, and Elsra NS blah blah armament. 2 times quad launchers for Harpoon anti-ship missiles, 1 times 32 cell vertical launching system for Barak surface-to-air missiles, 1 times 20 millimeter Phalanx CIWS, these are guns, 2 times 25 millimeter Typhoon weapon station, formerly occupied by 2 times 20 millimeter auto cannons. They have torpedoes, 2 times 324 millimeter Mark 32 torpedoes, and 1 helicopter. They were the largest surface warships in Israel's surface naval fleet, although the SAR S-class corvette now being deployed are considerably larger. Oh, look, it's launching a missile. How cool is that? But we don't get to know the cost on these.
I mean, how much more than 250 million?
60.
Can you get?
300, 400 million? Who knows? Oh, four SAR 6 Corvette. Yeah, that's the 6 class. I don't know what I don't know. 4 SAR 6 Corvettes. I don't know what that means. 10 additional F-15 aircraft. Oh, just the yesteryear version. They get 10 of those. Merkava tanks and Neymar armored personnel carriers, Hellfire missiles, the Joint Direct Attack Munition JDAM, and other precision-guided munitions. In terms of missile defense, the United States has paid for the majority of the production costs for the Iron Dome since 2011, the centerpiece of Israel's missile defense architecture. We've paid for it, the majority of it. And if they've paid for any of it, it's because we gave them the money.
What happens when they shoot a missile at us?
We get hit. We don't have this.
I'm saying, what are we supposed to do at that point?
Nothing.
We paid for them to have this secure.
If they shot a missile at us, it was for a good reason.
Hamas was over here.
Yeah, it was Hamas. There were tunnels underneath wherever they were trying to hit. It was accidental. It was accidental. They meant to fire it this way, but it went that way. Yeah.
Because with all that technology.
Right. They have accidents. I mean, all you have to do is look up the USS Liberty, and you'll find out what happens. Israel attacked a U.S. warship repeatedly, knowing it was a U.S. and it wasn't a U.S. communication ship. So they didn't even have the ability to defend themselves. And Israel attacked them repeatedly. And then when it was all said and done, they, it just went away because it was just a mistake in communications. It was just a mistake in communications. It wasn't Israel's fault. They didn't see the guys out there waving their flags and, trying to get it. They didn't see any of that. Even though the people on board the ship said they saw them looking down at them from the plane. They could see their eyes looking at them. Nah. Everybody aboard the ship that was victimized by that all knows it. They all said it was all fucking. It was clearly deliberate. They knew exactly what they were doing. But don't worry about it. Signed by President Obama in 2014, the U.S.-Israel Strategic Partnership Act authorizes $3 million to be spent on research pilot programs between Israeli government agencies and the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Hey, I wonder how many other countries we have these sorts of agreements with. What do you think? You think there's anything like this with anybody else? Where we just pay for everything? We just give and they just take and we don't get anything in return? Notice how there's nothing coming back our way in any of this? I've been reading for a while now, and nothing's come back to us. The Department of Defense's Chemical Biological Defense Response Units work with Israel Defense Forces to provide equipment and training. The Department of Defense has sold or provided free of charge millions of dollars worth of U.S. excess defense articles to the IDF, supporting their needs for spare parts, weapons, and simulators to maintain their current fleets. Do you guys remember voting on that? Do you guys remember voting that we should give Israel free of charge millions of dollars worth of shit?
We may have, completely unknowingly.
No, I know.
For this,
No, I know.
And that's buried down there, and you don't know about
for
it.
sure. Well,
So yeah, they probably have that
that's
scapegoat.
no. We don't ever vote for anything like this. There's never anything like this on any of the ballots ever. Not even buried deep. It's beyond us. It's the people up above that then write the bills and sneak it in at the bottom of the bills. But we voted them in, but we didn't have anything to do with the vote. Since fiscal year 2014, the United States has allocated more than $47 million on research and development task plans for tunnel detection and mapping technologies. And yet we still can't get that shit right, huh? That's the end. That's all they got from that. So I did want to look up.
So so all these different public officials run for these different public offices that greatly affect our lives. Whether we want to think so or not, it does. It affects, what businesses are allowed in your cities and how your streets are maintained and your trash is dealt with and how you get your water supply and how that's taken care of and maintained.
And
So,
fluoridated.
all of these things are a direct correlation to the public officials that we put in office.
And
So why is it?
And they mention this shit.
Why is it that when these people, it's time to vote for these people, because it's not always November 2nd or whatever. There's different votes that happen for different offices throughout the year that we don't, it's not, they'll make an announcement, but you have to go find it to get that information. Why don't they shut down your employment for 2 days or whatever, so you have an opportunity to go to one of these, listen to these people talk, learn about these people that you're asking to represent you? Why don't they make it
You're not supposed to.
more of a exactly? They put it in when you're rushing. Okay, so right before Thanksgiving and everybody's busy, hustle bustle. Oh, here's a vote. Okay, well, we gotta run and vote real quick. We don't have the time to properly educate ourselves on who it is that our options are.
Yeah, we do. We don't. It won't matter. You vote based on your affiliation. You've decided your affiliation a long time ago, so you vote with that. But at the same time, you have to understand, like, you're a puppet. You're a victim of the manipulation. And when you have groups like AIPAC single-handedly, just AIPAC, spending, they pick whichever candidate they want to represent, and then AIPAC alone will spend, they bragged in one case that they spend 5 times the opposing candidate's entire advertising budget. They donated that themselves. And then there's all these other Jewish groups that will donate to the one candidate that they want it to be. We have to look up AIPAC tomorrow. I'm not doing it today, but we have to look up AIPAC tomorrow. Hang on a second.
As you can see, Lex has been in your shop more than once.
All right. Okay, so now we're going to look up the Jewish Virtual Library. That's the first thing that comes up when I put in qualitative military advantage. So the Jewish Virtual Library says the U.S. provided only a limited amount of arms to Israel, including ammunition and recoilless rifles, prior to 1962. In that year, President Kennedy sold Hawk anti-aircraft missiles, but only after the Soviet Union provided Egypt with long-range bombers. In 1965, the U.S. had become Israel's main arms supplier. So prior to 1962, we didn't provide them very much, but then in 3 years, we just jumped right ahead. This was particularly partially God damn it. These ads keep popping up. No wonder they keep trying to sell me something. This was partially necessitated by West Germany's acquiescence to Arab pressure, which led it to stop selling tanks to Israel. As was true throughout most of the Johnson administration, however, the sale of arms to Israel was balanced by corresponding transfers to the Arabs. Thus, the first U.S. tank sale to Israel in 1965 was offset by a similar sale to Jordan. Sure it was. How does that offset anything? That is the stupidest fucking logic. Well, because they sold Israel some tanks and then they sold them to somebody else, that offsets it. Are you fucking crazy? I wonder if they paid the same amount. The U.S. did not provide Israel with aircraft until 1966. Even then, secret agreements were made to provide the same planes to Morocco and Libya, and additional military equipment was sent to Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, and Tunisia. Based on what? I mean, what do you... Obviously, this is the what is this? The Jewish Virtual Library. Obviously, this is very heavily loaded. Like, this is very much something they do, right? You know, well, they did it. So they did this. So, you know, I know we killed all these people, but they killed people too. Yeah, but we're talking about you killing people. Yeah, but they killed people like this. This is so typical. You know, this is just typical lie bullshit. As in 1948, the U.S. imposed an arms embargo on Israel during the Six-Day War while Arabs continued to receive Soviet arms. Israel's position was further undermined by the French decision to embargo arms transfers to the Jewish state. They refer to themselves as the Jewish state. If you do it, that's anti-Semitism, effectively ending their role as Israel's only other major supplier. Yeah, so we're the only ones now, huh? Lucky us. It was only after it became clear that Israel had no other sources of arms and that the Soviet Union had no interest in limiting its sales to the region. Do you guys understand that Epstein is connected to Israel's existence? Like, I doubt they'll talk about it here. But if it wasn't for Robert Maxwell smuggling in aircraft and parts and weaponry into Israel, but especially the aircraft that they needed to have the superiority they had, Israel would have lost. Not in 48, but in 67. Let's see. I'm trying to get here and get to the actual point of this. I'm trying to get to the point of this, and I have to skip through all this obfuscation, trying to keep me like, okay, well, the U.S. did this, and the U.S. did all this other stuff. So what you're about to read is pretty fucked up, but just keep it in mind. So I had to skip multiple paragraphs here. to get to, the U.S. began to pursue a policy whereby Israel's qualitative edge was maintained. Well, I guess we got to go back. It sails to the that President Johnson agreed to sell Israel Phantom jets that gave the Jewish state its first qualitative advantage. We will henceforth become the principal arms supplier to Israel, Assistant Secretary of Defense Paul Warnke, I don't know, told Israeli Ambassador Yitzhak Rabin, involving us even more intimately with Israel's security situation and involving more directly the security of the United States, right? Because we aren't secure if Israel isn't secure, right? Don't you guys feel safer knowing that Israel is able to kill more people than they should be able to? From that point on, the U.S. began to pursue a policy whereby Israel's qualitative edge was maintained, and it was later required by Congress. The U.S. has also remained committed, however, to arming Arab... Oh, Jesus Christ. So now they're going to be like, and then the Arab nations, like aircraft in Morocco, blah, 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 and Saudi Arabia for the first time received a weapon system that gave blah, 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 blah. Just bullshit. They can't help but... It's so crazy. It's so crazy that they do this shit and that we fall for it. I mean, who reads this and doesn't see what they're doing? The U.S. is also committed, however, to arming Arab nations, providing sophisticated missiles, tanks, and aircraft to Jordan, Morocco, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and the Gulf states. Thus, while Israel received F-15s in 1978, so too did Egypt and Saudi Arabia. In 1981, Saudi Arabia, for the first time, received a weapon system that gave it a qualitative advantage over Israel. Yeah, I believe that. That's why they attacked. In September 1999, Israel signed a deal with the United States to purchase 50 F-16I fighter jets at a cost of $2.46 billion, which we gave them. I just don't understand what you're missing here. Under the terms of the agreement, Israel has the option to purchase 60 additional F-16s at the same price. The advanced model of the warplane contains systems that were developed by Israel's military industries, including avionics systems and electronic warfare system developed by Elizra. Missiles and sensors manufactured by Rafael, detachable fuel tanks manufactured by Israel military industries, and other Israeli developed systems. So why don't they just build their own fucking planes? Why can't Israel build its own planes? What's the issue with that? That actually makes no fucking sense to me. Why isn't Israel just manufacturing their own shit? In November 1999, the U.S. government approved the sale of 700 Joint Direct Attack Munitions, JDAM bombs, to the Israeli Air Force for $45 million. I mean, every time they do this shit where they talk about how we sold them something, they're using the money we gave them to buy it. It's as dumb as it gets. Like, it's just stupid. How can you be this stupid? The bombs, which are produced by Boeing in St. Louis, are used by specially mounted F-15 and F-16 fighter planes and are considered the most advanced of their type in the world. In March 2002, the United States transferred to Israel an advanced system to help detect incoming ballistic missiles. The system now works together with the Arrow anti-missile system and is designed to enhance Israel's early warning capabilities. The impetus for the transfer was the expectation that the United States plans to eventually attack Iraq and that Saddam Hussein might respond as he did in the 1991 Gulf War by firing missiles at Israel. Oh, in February 2003, the United States and Israel signed an agreement to cooperate in the development of America's largest jet fighter design, the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter. The agreement stipulated that Israel would pay the United States millions of dollars for the rights to use and participate in the designing of the plane. So I can't actually find what I want here. In September 2004, the United States sold Israel nearly 5,000 smart bombs in one of the largest weapons deals between the two allies. Valued at $319 million, funding for the sale will come from the U.S. military aid to Israel. See? They make this idea, oh, it's the largest, blah, blah. It comes from the United States military aid. They aren't paying us. How is it that so many fucking adults don't understand what's happening here? Among the bombs are 500 one-ton bunker busters that can penetrate 2-meter thick concrete walls, 2,500 regular one-ton bombs, 1,000 half-ton bombs, and 500 quarter-ton bombs. Yeah, they don't want nearly that many small ones. They want the big ones. The bombs Israel include airborne versions, guidance units, training bombs, and detonators. Doesn't make sense. They are guided by an existing Israeli satellite used by the military. Sure they are. In October 2005, the U.S. Defense Department announced a sale to Israel of jet engines and other Air Force equipment. The $600 million total in parts and services will probably come from the $2.2 billion the U.S. pledged in grants to Israel in 2005, most of which will be spent in the United States. It's like when you give your kids money to buy you a present for your birthday or something. You know, it's fucking stupid. Why would any American be okay with this? Why would any non-J be okay with this? This is fucking insane. Oh, the sale of jet engines to Israel would contribute to the foreign policy and national security of the U.S. by helping to improve the security of a friendly country that has been and continues to be an important force for economic progress in the Middle East. What? How does that make us secure in any fucking way? I mean, the wording is just fucking stupid. Because they are an important force for economic progress in the Middle East. That makes the United States, that makes dumb Joe ass James Dixon, that makes James Dixon more safe because of Israel making money in the Middle East. This is just fucking insane. The engines meant for Israel's force of F-15 and F-16 fighters will dramatically improve the flying capabilities and maintenance of the IAF fleet. So as soon as they develop better technology, better engines, better whatever, they ship it over to Israel so the planes can be outfitted with this new technology. In December 2006, the U.S. Congress approved a proposal to increase the amount of emergency equipment the United States proposed prepositions in Israel's stockpiles. What? Oh, the United States prepositions. My bad. The amount of emergency. So this is weapons that they don't have to buy. These are just emergency stockpiles that we leave in Israel. That if we ever need them, we can get them. Like when we needed them with Ukraine. Remember when we went and got a bunch of munitions from the Israeli stockpiles to give them to Ukraine and it was big news? Yeah. So we continue to stockpile, we continue to fill these stockpiles of weapons, and then whenever Israel wants to, they just have access to it. These stockpiles are meant for use by U.S. forces in the Middle East in case of an emergency. Israel is also allowed to use the stockpiles and did so during combat in the war with Hezbollah in the summer of 2006. The current value of material in the stockpile is $100 million. In 2008, the military stock will be doubled. Oh my God. In 2008, Congress enacted legislation requiring that any proposed U.S. arms sale to any country in the Middle East other than Israel must include a notification to Congress with a determination that the sale or export of such would not adversely affect Israel's qualitative military advantage over military threats to Israel. If it does, you then have to provide Israel with more. Watch. The legislation defines QME, qualitative military edge, as the ability to counter and defeat any credible conventional military threat from any individual state or possible coalition of states or from non-state actors while sustaining minimal damage and casualties through the use of superior military means possessed in sufficient quality, including weapons, command, control, communications, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance capabilities that are in their technical characteristics, are superior in capability to those of such other individual or possible coalition of states or non-state actors. The details of the U.S. assessments of QME are generally classified. So, we think that Israel should be just the mightiest thing in the world. And anytime anybody gets anything, we are to provide Israel with twice as much. The U.S.-Israeli strategic... In December 2009, a new agreement was reached to stockpile $800 million worth of weapons and ammunition in Israel, which Obama administration and officials described as a sign of the U.S. commitment to Israel's security. So, again, along with the other weapons we give them through phony sales, we also leave a bunch of weapons there for stockpiles in case we need them in an emergency. But it's basically just another way to say we give them another $1 billion worth of weapons just sitting there that we have to maintain. If they use half of that, we have to fill it back up. We've committed to we have an agreement to stockpile $800 million. Which Obama, blah, blah, blah. In 1990, the U.S. began to preposition military equipment in Israel for use by American military forces or by Israel in the event of a military emergency. Like, they immediately need to attack and kill people. The U.S.-Israel Strategic Partnership Act, enacted in December 2014, requires more frequent QME assessments and executive legislative consultations. It also requires that QME determinations include evaluations of how potential arms sales would change the regional balance, while identifying measures Israel may need to take in response to the potential sales and assurances or possible assurances from the United States to Israel as a result of the potential sales. In late 2014, Israel signed a deal with the United States to purchase $82 million worth of JDAM kits for combat aircraft. Again, that we pay for. Can you imagine being able to buy shit? Like you go to your grocery store and you're just able to buy whatever you want to buy, and then the grocery store pays for it. You know, like a shopping spree. How many of you would hold back? How many of you wouldn't you wouldn't get more just in case you don't know when this opportunity is going to come back up again? In response to Israel's skepticism and disapproval of the framework nuclear deal reached between P5+1 and Iran, the United States and Israel entered unofficial negotiations in mid-May 2015 aimed at providing the Israeli military with additional U.S. military equipment. U.S. officials announced on May 20th that they had signed a deal to sell Israel $1.8 billion in precision-guided munitions, large and small bombs, and ammunitions. As part of the deal, Israel will also receive 3,000 Hellfire missiles that were supposed to be delivered in 2014, but were postponed due to Operation Protective Edge. That's one of those things where Israel was killing a bunch of people, I'm sure. Saudi Arabia will also receive 10 Seahawk helicopters from the United States as part of this reassurance deal surrounding the framework agreement with Iran. So wait, Saudi Arabia gets 10 helicopters and Israel gets 1.8 billion in precision-guided munitions, large and small bombs and ammunitions, along with 3,000 Hellfire missiles.
Does that include the training on how to operate them?
Well, the thing is, they'll say shit like Israel provides the United States with a lot of the technologies that they... Why doesn't Israel just make their own fucking planes? Why do they need to buy them from us?
They don't have to make them. They can make us make them.
I mean, it's just stupid.
Pay them to take them.
Oh, every single thing on here keeps saying it. Like, in 2009, an agreement was reached to stockpile 800 million worth of weapons and ammunition in Israel. In 1990, United States began pre-position military equipment in Israel for use by American military forces or Israel in the event of an emergency. In October 2005, U.S. Defense Department announced the sale of to Israel of jet engines and other Air Force equipment. The $600 million total in parts and services will probably come from the $2.2 billion the U.S. has pledged in grants. Like, it's the same thing over and over again. And then they'll do something like they'll say, Israel gets this, and then, but the U.S. also gave Saudi Arabia 10 helicopters. So, it's not like totally biased like you say it is. Israel was the first country outside the United States to receive the F-35. The first 9 of the 50 ordered by Israel became operational at the end of 2017. By the end of 2020, the total fleet was expected to a total 27. Sources, APAC. Oh, Jesus Christ. I just can't. What else can I say? What else can I say? What else can I do? APAC, preserving Israel's QME promotes American interests. Oh, and then, you got to hear this line. This line is fantastic. See if I can find it real quick. Okay, the sale of jet engines to Israel would contribute to the foreign policy and national security of the U.S. by helping to improve the security of a friendly country that has been and continues to be an important force for economic progress in the Middle East. That's why because that's our benefit from giving Israel all this shit. I mean, this is just insane. AIPAC says preserving Israel's QME promotes America's interests. Over the past year, Israel has effectively defended itself against simultaneous and sustained attacks from Iran and its proxies like Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis. All H's, huh? All of which are enemies of both Israel and the United States. Yeah, well, we are always being attacked by Hamas and Hezbollah and those Houthis. The only time we're attacked by them is when we're attacking them, or because Israel is, and we're supporting Israel. And again, they make these fucking claims. This is AIPAC.com. I don't show my sources. This is AIPAC.com. They always make these claims, but where is it? Where's the proof? Where were these simultaneous and sustained attacks from Iran and its proxies over the past year? Well, I guess it'd be 2 years now because this was at the end of 2024. Like this is so irritating that they just flat out lie to us. Like it's not even like hyperbole or sort of bending the truth a little bit so that they can sway us one way or another. These are flat out fucking lies. So that these piece of shits can I mean, again, they must. It's not like we're running out of room. It's not like we're running out of resources. It's not like people are barely getting by and shit. It's because these people want to kill people. They don't even care about the land that much. They just want to kill people. Might as well be. It's an actor. He's an actor. Trump is an actor. He's been on TV for many years. He was in a very, very subliminal, a subliminal setup, a scene where he's standing between the two big towers in Home Alone 2. He just happens to stop Donald Trump, of all people. And Trump wasn't like, hey, you want to ride? This has been possible due to Israel's qualitative military edge, its ability to counter and defeat any combination. Oh shit, I do want to read this other thing to you. This is crazy. Okay. The legislation defines Israel's QME, qualitative military edge, as the ability to counter and defeat any credible conventional military threat from any individual state or possible coalition of states or from non-state actors while sustaining minimal damage and casualties through the use of superior military means possessed in sufficient quantity, including weapons, command, control, communications, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance capabilities that in their technical characteristics are superior in capability to those such other individual or possible coalition of states or non-actors. That is our pledge to Israel, to provide them with that. I don't want to read this one. This one's going to be ridiculous. I do want to read the National Archives.
What's your source?
National Archives, White House, Obama White House archives.gov. Summary. Andrew Shapiro, Assistant Secretary for the Bureau of Political and Military Affairs and the State Department, speaks to the Washington Institute for Near East Policy about the U.S.-Israel relationship and current issues in the Middle East.
He should not be in that position.
Why?
That is a biased position.
Yeah, this one's too long for me to read right now, but I'll read it.
I'm sorry,
tomorrow.
but that's like,
That's like how
a young black man being accused of murder and his fucking jurors are all white Christian racists.
Or it's like the Samantha Wool case where they tried to manufacture that those charges against Michael Jackson Bolanos, and the Jewish judge, they tried to recuse the Jewish judge because if she's a Jewish community leader here in Detroit and he's a judge, there's a really, really good chance that they know each other. And there's no reason why a Jewish judge should be presiding over a case where,
His personal community gets affected.
Well, but the prosecution, the prosecution doesn't just throw everything against the wall and hope it sticks. They only go after shit that they know they can win.
Yep.
So when the prosecution is laying out their case and the judge keeps stopping it and adding charges like hate crime charges and all this shit that the prosecution is like, we can't. That doesn't happen. If you want to show me another situation where the judge interrupted opening arguments, added charges to the case, show me when that happens. And that they tried to get him to recuse himself, but he wouldn't. And nobody stood up. Nobody stepped up and saying, hey, this is crazy. This guy shouldn't be here. He clearly has ulterior motives. And when it was all said and done, they could only find Michael Jackson Bolanos guilty of lying to the police, but they gave him 18 months to 25 years as the sentence. Can you imagine being in prison and not knowing? Like thinking I might get out in 18 months or I might get out in 25 years. Can you imagine the psychological torture that is? I want to look that up. We're going to end today on Samantha Wool and we'll see how that bullshit is going. Sort by date. 3 days ago, Samantha Wool was stabbed outside her home. The man accused, let's see, this is MSN. Think about this. So wait a minute. So let's tell the story real quick. So October 7th, 2023, the fake false flag attack happens in Israel. October 21st, 2023, at around 6:30 in the morning, Samantha Wool, a J community leader here in Detroit, was found dead, stabbed a bunch of times outside of her home on her front lawn by another neighbor. They end up they didn't have any suspects or anything like that. It was a murder. And for a little while they didn't have anything. And I at first the news was saying, we don't know if this has anything to do with Hamas and Israel, but it might be, so we don't know if it does. And I told my wife when it happened, watch. When they can't make a Israel-Hamas connection to it, the story will... When they find out it was her boyfriend or her husband or whatever, the story will disappear. A couple of months later, a man is arrested in the trial, but they keep all the details super quiet, and he ends up getting let go. Come to find out, that man was her ex-boyfriend who called the police to tell on himself. He said that he thinks he might have killed his girlfriend. He doesn't quite remember doing it, but he thinks he might have. Only to be let go of and given immunity because he said he took a double dose of his psych medication that day. Because, you know, gotta have those psych drugs in these stories. And he hit his weed pen 4 times. So this guy that admitted to doing it was given immunity because there was a black man arrested 3/4 of a mile away a minute after the security system, the super advanced security system she had for some reason, detected movement in the house. He was arrested almost a mile away. And they later, after the boyfriend, they made the connection and said, oh, this was him that did it. And they tried to put this whole thing on this guy, Michael Jackson Bolanos, who wasn't a good guy. He was out walking around looking for shit to steal. But when it comes to Samantha Wohl, you see the capabilities that the system says they have. This J woman was murdered. So every fucking resource possible is spent on her. Every news station is talking. Like, whenever a J is killed, oh, that's a big fucking deal. And they ended up being able to track Michael Jackson Bolanos from leaving his house in Detroit earlier that day, and all the different ring cams and security cameras and all that they track his movements up to when he got near that neighborhood. But the best part, I think, about this story is, again, she was found dead at 6:30 a.m. by a neighbor. If you read the papers from October 22nd, the following day, the early morning edition, so around 24 hours later, they talk about how beautiful her funeral was and that over 1,000 people showed up. Go ahead, think about that. How many times have you ever heard of somebody being murdered, it being unsolved? It's not like it was cut and dry. And there was a funeral for them within a few hours. You ever hear that before? Other than with Jays? How do you get 1,000 people to a funeral within a few hours of the thing happening? Where's the investigation? Where's the autopsy to decide exactly how many stab wounds there were and all that other stuff? What happened with that? Well, surprisingly, I just pulled it up, and MSN has a story about it. Samantha Wohl was stabbed outside her home. The man accused of her murder says he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. A mile from the Michigan synagogue, Samantha Wohl had run for the past year. A trail of blood led police to the horrific scene where her lifeless body was found outside her home. That's not it. What? Nothing led police to her body. Her neighbor called, and there was a trail from her body inside back into her home. What the fuck? I can only read it if I get the app. The stabbing of the beloved president of Isaac Agree Downtown Synagogue on October 21st, 2023 shocked the local community and city officials who remembered her as a beacon of light in the community, seeking to build bridges between Jews and Muslims. Don't you remember all those things you heard about her? I can't read it because I'm not putting the app on the phone. So that was 3 days ago. The Jewish News put out a story on December 25th, 2024. Jewish Detroit celebrated achievements, confronted challenges in 2024. 2024 brought highs and lows for Jewish Detroit. Read the JN's Year in Review of Resilience and Community. Yeah, that's not what I'm looking for. Hillel Day School dedicates mosaic honoring Samantha Wool's legacy of unity. God, this is so fucking bad. 1 year later, Samantha Wool's memory lives on. The Detroit News. It's been 1 year since you stabbed her. October 23rd, 2024.
Is that word correct?
Cherokee tribe?
Is that correct? It's just tribe the correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would Cherokee Nation, maybe. It's been 1 year since the brutal death of Samantha Wool, the former president of Isaac Agreed Downtown Detroit Synagogue. Wool's parents and family members are still dealing with grief and asking why her promising life abruptly ended on October 21st, 2023, when her body was discovered with multiple stab wounds in Lafayette Park near her home. Multiple stab wounds, you know, that's not what people do when they're killing somebody because it's random. That's a passionate crime. To stab someone multiple times takes considerable effort. To put the knife in and pull it out, and put it in and pull it out. And if you did, you'd have blood all over you. But it's a crime, and that whole thing takes a long time. It's not like that happens quickly. It's not like it's 1 second and then it's done. That happens over a period of time. Like this story is bullshit start to fucking finish. And of course, you know, I'm talking to you about factual shit. This is the Detroit News I'm reading here. I don't even have to read the comments because I know it's all just dumb nonsense. To make matters worse, in July of this year, a jury could not reach a verdict on the murder charges against Michael Jackson Bolanos, the man accused of the crime, despite her family's strong belief he was going to get convicted. Oh, yes, because there's literally no evidence to connect him. He said he came across the body on the ground already and was like, oh shit, white woman, I got to get the fuck out of here. Nothing was stolen from her. You know, it's all just bullshit. Police believe they built a strong case with evidence, including a prosecution witness testimony that Wool's blood was found on the jacket belonging to Jackson Bolanos. You know how much blood it was? It was supposedly 2 microscopic dots that you couldn't see with your naked eye. They were found under microscope somehow. Can you imagine somebody going through the whole jacket looking for dots that aren't visible to the naked eye, but they end up finding? Do you know how random that is? But Wool's parents are not letting her memory die with the disappointing outcome of the court case. It's disappointing that they weren't able to convict an innocent man of murder. Her fucking boyfriend admitted to doing it, but that's not enough. He got immunity. They are determined to ensure her legacy lives on, even in the alchemy of sorrow. Even in the alchemy of sorrow. Her cherished memory and impact can still be felt from the grave. I don't care about all this. I want to read about the trial. So let's pull up the trial. Kamala Harris in Michigan, Detroit River Rescue, Samantha Wool's murder still unsolved. Yeah, they go together. Why Michael Jackson Bolanos cannot be retried for Samantha Wool's murder. This is a YouTube video from Fox News. Oh, listen to that music.
A serene sidewalk in Detroit, tucked into a part of the city known for peaceful streets and tree-lined
focusing on
neighborhoods,
education and
almost
community
insulated from
efforts.
chaos and crime.
My husband was just out. He's walking our dog.
until it wasn't.
He told me there is a person potentially a body laying on the sidewalk.
It was a murder that shook us to the core.
Shook
a
us to
vibrant
the
young
core.
woman killed in cold blood.
Oh, yes.
Detroit police zeroed in on a suspect for the murder of Samantha Wohl, but the trial went south. The jury did not convict. A big
Because they
sticking
didn't
point
have the fucking evidence to convict him.
victim's blood, or lack thereof, on the jacket worn that night by the suspect, Michael Jackson Bolanos. What many don't know, his girlfriend washed that jacket before police tested it for evidence.
Oh.
A common black water-resistant jacket like this, because it was in the hamper.
He had a black water-resistant jacket. And somebody still was able to find 2 microscopic blood dots on there.
She said,
Gotcha.
now think about it.
Who believes that?
How often do you wash your Gore-Tex jacket? Could that explain why only a trace amount of Samantha's blood was discovered on it? What haunts you the most?
The fact she's not here.
The fact she's not here. All right, I'm going to bounce. I got to go. I got shit to do. So you guys have yourself a great day. Pedophiles, go kill yourself. Go get your free stuff from the description, the website, all that stuff. Go watch Hollywoodism. This is dumb as shit. Understand that Israel is killing way too many. We need to stop this. We need to eliminate this cult before they eliminate us. So pedophiles, kill yourself.